Hi, PokeTrader18 here. So this video is going to be pretty different from any video I've made before. I've decided to tell my Pokemon trading card game story. I'm going to tell you how I got started into collecting Pokemon cards. I'm going to tell you some of the highlights and some of my fondest memories, as well as why I decided to start collecting again at a later age. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. It's going to be a bit rambly. I'm sure I'm going to be saying every 3 seconds and blabbering, but I hope you enjoy it and I hope it makes sense. And keep in mind, these are mostly my memories, so it might not even match up with, it might not even be historically correct, but this is just what I remember. So anyway, let's start from the beginning. I remember from the very beginning, I remember when the Game Boy game came out. You know, that was the first Pokemon appearance was in the Game Boy game. And I remember I didn't have a Game Boy, so I didn't buy the game. But I remember the TV show. I remember when the TV show came out, the first episode, and I was instantly hooked to Pokemon. I thought it was super cool. I never missed an episode. And I remember when the trading card game came out soon after, and I think I was up at Walmart day 1 or day 2. It was within the week that they released the Pokemon trading card game, and I went up to Walmart and I bought the Zap theme deck. That's the one with the base set Mewtwo in it. So I bought that, and that was my first Pokemon trading card game item ever. And I remember I went to school, and you know, that next week, and I remember instantly everybody had Pokemon cards. Everybody, at least the guys. The girls, not too many of them were into it. You know, they would collect the cute cards or such, but the dudes, we were like, you know, hardcore on the Pokemon cards at the time. Especially in after school. I was in after school, and that's all after school was trading Pokemon cards, playing the Game Boy game, and watching others play the Game Boy game. That was it. The counselors had nothing to do during after school. They would sit at their table, you know, watching us from afar, and like I said, they had nothing to do at all. We were just completely taking care of ourselves. We were so hooked, and time seemed to fly by super quick. Even when they forced us to go outside, you know, they're like, everyone's got to go outside and get some exercise. We would sit like on the playground or something and just trade and stuff. So it was like being possessed. We were all possessed and just extremely excited every school day to meet up and trade and such. And I remember the first trade I can remember, I remember I traded my base set Mewtwo for a first edition Machamp. And I remember right after I traded, I remember one of my friends was like, "No, that's a terrible trade. Don't, you know, you got ripped off and stuff." And I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember he convinced me, and I pretty much started chasing that kid around that I traded to, and I was like, you know, trade back. I don't want this stupid card. And I tried to get my card back, but I never did. And I still have that first edition Machamp to this day. This is the card right here. You can see it's not in great condition. I don't think the condition has worsened since I've got it. I think my standards have just gone up a lot, so I'm pretty sure this is the exact condition of the card when I traded it for it. So it's pretty awesome that I still have this card. It's like my first holographic trade ever. So anyway, also I never played the card game. Like a lot of kids would play the card game at the tables and stuff, and I always had the collector mindset from the very beginning. I took care of my holographic and rare cards. I always kept them in protectors if I could, and I would never bring any of my other cards from home to school unless they were duplicates. You know, that was like my trading strategy. I would get all my duplicates and I would put them in a stack, and I'd bring them to school and trade those for new cards that I didn't have. Because I was trading for commons, uncommons. I didn't care. I just wanted, you know, new cards. I wanted them to be in decent condition. So anyway, don't know, a couple weeks, I guess it took before they banned Pokemon cards from the school. I remember it was pretty quick. It had been such a storm of Pokemon cards that they banned it pretty quick. And it did hurt the community, the Pokemon trading card community, it hurt a little bit, but we still found ways to trade. We would designate times to meet in the bathroom and trade, or we'd do it on the school bus. I had like an hour-long school bus ride home. I was like the last kid off, so I had plenty of time to swap seats a bunch and hey, you got this card, and all that stuff. So that was pretty cool. I remember when the first edition. I remember when the base set came out. I remember it was when it was common in stores to find. I remember the first edition packs were pretty pricey even for the time they came out. I think they were about between $4.50 a pack and $6 a pack. I remember I didn't buy many at all, if any, first edition packs, because they were the priciest. The Unlimiteds were considerably cheaper, maybe $1.50 or so cheaper a pack. And but I remember all the stores that sold them. They would have the first edition Charizard. They would have it like encased in this plastic case, and they would sit it like right next to the booster box. So kids were like obsessed with getting that first edition Charizard. And back then they were $100. Probably a bit inflated back then. They weren't that hard to find. The odds weren't that incredible. They weren't old. Had just come out. But people were obsessed with getting that first edition Charizard. I also remember when the Fossil set came out. I don't remember too much about Jungle. I don't think I liked that set much, and to this day I don't like it very much at all. But I remember when Fossil came out, I bought quite a few of those packs. I remember when Team Rocket came out. I really liked the Team Rocket set. I remember pulling a first edition Dark Blastoise out of one of my first packs, I guess, and that was pretty cool. And I remember, as after a grade or so, Pokemon started to die out, and I remember Yu-Gi-Oh kind of came into popularity. Once again, I'm not sure exactly the historic timeline here, but I remember Yu-Gi-Oh was kind of like the next thing, and I remember I got into that a little bit. And I had a pretty good collection. I had like all three Blue Eyes White Dragons, I think that's what it's called. I had all three variations of that at the time. I had bought a few decks, and I'd bought a good bit of packs and stuff for it. And I remember one day, I remember one kid asked to see my binder, and I got distracted, and he had it for a few minutes, and I remember I found my binder on the table, opened it up, and I was missing like 5 of my best holographics, including all 3 of them, Blue Eyes Dragons and whatnot. And I remember I was instantly crushed. I was just like, what's the point of collecting these things anymore? So I sold the rest of my cards to this kid for like $11, and that was pretty much the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm glad I didn't get into that. I wasn't really that serious about it to begin with. Pokemon was barely even visible at the time. No one had Pokemon cards. It was kind of embarrassing. We were 4th, 5th grade or so. So anyway, yeah, Pokemon kind of died out. It kind of died out for me as well, because when the Neo show came out, the Orange Islands or whatever it was called, I wasn't that into it. I didn't like the idea of the baby Pokemon. I felt like they were kind of babying the show up a bit. I didn't like that they got rid of Brock and the cool characters. The show just didn't seem as good as it used to be. And I didn't buy too many of the Neo sets at all. I bought a few packs here and there, but it was pretty much fizzling out for me. So after a while, I remember I bought a couple packs from like the newer sets, which are like Legendary Collection, and I remember the last pack I had bought, or the first pack I had bought in a long time, was Expedition. I was at Walmart, and I saw the pack there, and I bought it, and it was my first pack of Expedition ever, and I was just like, for old time's sake, And I bought the pack, opened it up in the car, and in that pack I got the holographic Charizard, and for the reverse I got the Venusaur. And that was pretty awesome. It was probably like the best pack I've ever opened. And I still have those two cards here. The holographic Charizard and the reverse Venusaur. Got both of these in the same pack, first pack of Expedition ever. So I remember I bought like 1 or 2 more packs of Expedition the next week or so. I remember I bought that Legendary Collection theme deck with the unholographic base set Charizard in it. And so I was kind of like, my interest was a little raised because of that good luck from that Expedition pack. And we were doing pretty good money-wise in my family. Things were really starting to step up a little bit. So I decided to invest in a fossil booster box, and I bought this off of eBay, one of my first eBay purchases. I bought this unlimited fossil booster box, and I planned to keep it sealed. I never planned to open it at all. And I had it sitting in my closet, and I remember it was beckoning me. I mean, it was absolutely driving me crazy. I wanted to open this box. And I only paid $70 for it shipped. You know, that was like early 2009, I guess, or maybe late 08. So eventually my temptation got the best of me, and I opened it up, and I opened about 10 packs, and I was like, that's all I'm going to open. I'm just going to keep the rest in the box, you know, for later. So I opened those packs, and then, you know, every week I would open a couple more packs. I was like, oh, just a couple more packs. So eventually I got down to the last 3 packs, 1 of each cover, and that's when I decided to stop. And in that box I got all 3 legendary birds. You know, I had a really, really good box. All 3 holographic legendary birds. And I still have these last 3 packs that I kept. That's kind of like what started my little trend of keeping 1 of each pack. You know. So anyway, soon after I bought that box and opened all of them, that's when I made my first video. And that video is still on my YouTube account, or channel. You can look that up, just look at my oldest video. And all I planned to do was show off my collection and trade 1 or 2 cards to some people, because there was a couple cards that I wanted. And that was my only intentions for this channel. If you watch that first video, you can see, you know, some of those mint fossil cards that I pulled not too long ago. So yeah, after that video that I made of my little collection, I got lots of response from it, and I just kind of went from there. I was like, you know, I'll get back into this a little bit and start buying stuff here and there. You know, I had the money. And that's basically how my channel started. And you guys know the rest from there just by watching my videos. And of course nowadays I don't have the money I used to. I don't quite have the interest that I used to. I feel like I've got all the cards I wanted, and I've owned all the cards that I truly set out to get. And my last voyage here is to get a first edition sealed Wizards of the Coast pack from each set. And I'm very close to doing that now. I'm only 3 packs away at the moment. I've been kind of on a rampage on eBay buying them up, you know, for cheap prices. So yeah, that's my Pokemon trading card game story. This video was pretty long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and talk to you guys later. Bye.